Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. You were more than likely taught this history throughout your years of school. But if this sense enrolled things from your brain, let's take a step back and cover the basics and speed up its history as to why it relates to the subject that matters. Fought in the year 1863 from the dates of July 1st to July 3rd, the Battle of Gettysburg is largely considered one of the bloodiest wars that occurred on American soil. Not only were numerous lives of soldiers lost, but many innocent civilians as well fell victim to the war and tragedies that came with it. Taking place during the American Civil War, conflict waged throughout Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, between two factions known as the Union and the Confederates. The Battle of Gettysburg resulted in anywhere between 46,000 to 51,000 casualties. With such a staggering number of lives lost under the commands of General George Meade and Robert E. Lee, there is little to no doubt to why many believe that Gettysburg is haunted. Many businesses and homes were subjected to becoming a makeshift hospitals during the war, while others were taken over by military forces to serve as a temporary headquarters for general offices. These places usually saw much bloodshed, or often becoming the final resting place for many of the wounded or sick. Lost spirits that died as a result of the American Civil War are readily reported among many of these locations throughout Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. One such of a children's orphanage, known as the National Homestead. The foundation was needed after the war had left various children orphaned, without immediate family left to look after the children. It was decided that the best course of action to remedy this tragedy was to build an orphanage right there in the Battle of Gettysburg took place. And I have a story to tell you about the orphanage after this because I don't know anymore. The relief this lost spirit seems to have been more so feared in the past than it is today, which makes one scratch their head as to why the spot to build an orphanage for children whose parents died in the war. The Gettysburg battlefield saw some of the bloodiest carnage to ever take place, with the demise of numerous soldiers engaged in battle. Trying to reason why these bloody rounds were chosen to somewhat prelapsing. Nevertheless, it was handpicked by Dr. John F. Burns. The ground was broken away and went construction. It would be nice to be able to write that they all lived happily ever after and stopped there. But as you probably guessed, that certainly was not the case. While the best intentions were no doubt in mind for the facility, things turned sour pretty quickly. It was a happy homestead in its infancy, even visited by useless S. Grant in a campaign to drum up donations in support of the orphanage. But after its initial headmistress was replaced, it promptly went to hell in a handbasket. A wickedly evil disciplinary by the name of Rosa J. Carmichael soon took over operations of the orphanage and treated these poor innocent orphans like dirt. She even went to as far as utilize a home's basement as a dungeon. This dungeon was, was used to discipline unruly children, with its history becoming notorious for the makings of the ocean war. So much, in fact, that the popular television series Ghost Adventures crew spent a night in the dungeon of the basement in order to communicate with the spirits of Wilson Carmichael and the children. And I've seen that video, that episode, and it was creepy. I'm not gonna lie. It has been reported that Wilson Carmichael actually went as far as to chain the children up in her hair to the walls in the basement, and it's narrowed horroring to think of what else he may have done in efforts to discipline orphans. It is because of these monstrous actions that the National Homestead is believed to be so rife with paranormal activity. Coupled with all of the loss from the Battle of Gettysburg, may have made each of the truly haunted ago. And it seems that the children of the orphanage, like the great Mel Totoro movie, and I'm sorry if I've pronounced anything wrong, seems to be ensnared in the occult and bizarre. There are a popular one in South Carolina whose history have left likened piece of land, rubble and dirt, worming with restless dead. Over the years, tours have been made available to the public in order to allow them to walk through the orphanage, mostly in reports of sightings from both guests and tour guides. Most stories consist of hearing the clanging of chains against the basement walls, although there are a few other spine-chilling tales from visitors. Some have said that they've witnessed a ghostly apparition of a small boy who seemed to appear from the shadows on the basement corners. Oh right, I was there. Only to quickly vanish when the witness attempts to take the photograph. I have to admit, the corners on the wall were really dark, unlike the rest of the room. But because it was so dark, I didn't really see anything. And if I saw something in the dark, I knew then something was there. And I'll get more into that later. There have been, however, a few pictures that seem to have captured an entity or two. A couple and their friends once attended one of the aforementioned tours and naturally snapped a handful of photos along the way. Upon review, it revealed that a ghost of a small child appeared standing between their two friends. Another tour, a gentleman took many photos and attempted to capture anything on film that he possibly could. When he had the pictures developed, there was a variation of orbs and flashing of lights throughout many of his photos. These were all captured down in the orphanage basement, further cementing the orphanage haunted legacy. On the sides of the strange mist that appear to linger where this makeshift dungeon once operated. Over time, the National Homestead was turned into a sort of museum that served to allow tourists to get inside a look at the life during the American Civil War, as well as experience the aftermath and what horrors took place within the orphanage basement. Letters written by soldiers able to be read, were available to be read, as well as record history from civilians who lived through the war. It was interesting to look into the lives of those who provided first-hand accounts of the miseries that come from war. Tourists and employees alike will no doubt continue to experience the otherworldly encounters with the Gettysburg cats. The results of the war took place here will forever be remembered by such paranormal happenings. And while it is a shame that the events of the American Civil War and Battle of Gettysburg had to happen, it is an opportunity of our young nation's past, and it's helped to shape who we are today as a country. It is crucial that these tales are continually passed on through each generation of young thinkers. Not forgotten, we run the risk of making the same mistakes that led to the Civil War in the first place. And this is a dangerous proposition, as history has proven time and time again that those who fail to learn from their mistakes are doomed to repeat them. Did my camera just get blurry? That was weird. Oh well. Anyway, so my story of the orphanage. Nothing major happened, to say the least. But when people say it's so dark you can't see your hand in front of your face, well, the states probably started that. I'm not saying it did, but the dark was so dark, I literally couldn't see the hand in front of my face, and I couldn't see my mom, and I knew she was right next to me or behind me. And the only light we had was the flashlight of the tour guide. That was the only light we had. And he turned out the lights to make it even creepier. Now, there is a apartment that is built right on top of the orphanage. And people use that while they are in town for school or jobs or anything else. According to our tour guide, they like to play pranks on the tourists. But there wasn't anyone in those apartments the night I was there. We heard walking up across the first floor, and it was probably an hour or two after the owners of the building left. We were the only ones there, and we knew for a fact there was nobody up there. As soon as the walking happened, I thought it was Rosa Carmichael, because the walking sounded like this. I am not even joking you. And I guess that is major if you're not used to it. But, I mean, I wasn't, although I went for ghost hunting and I got what I wanted. But, I wish I had, like, a real camera to, like, actually capture it when it happened. But when the tour guide actually went upstairs to find out if any of the owners came back. He looked scared. And his face was pale, paler than mine. And I was called a vampire in high school, but paler than mine. And I'm like, okay, he definitely saw something or someone that wasn't alive. So it got me thinking, since most of the kids were in the basement dungeon, it had to be Rosa color right there. Now about Rosa, like I said, she is a demon. I don't know anyone who would do that in kids who lost their parents. And she actually had a bucket in the basement where she will fill it up with water and drown the kids. I can't make this up. And then, according to what I read online and forgot to put in the video, is that she was found guilty of what she was doing, and she hopped a train and was never seen again. So, yeah. With Rose's note still being there, I'm not surprised that the son knew him. And actually, when I was at the Gettysburg Orphanage another time, they like to pull this kid's techniques, like to pull on your hair. And this is like saying, hey, I'm here, or I want to play. Which, yeah, at first it can be a little creepy, but they're just kids, and I don't even know if they know that they passed away in a horrific, sad way. But, my hair was in a ponytail, and it got pulled. I was sitting right against the brick wall, right beside one of the shaves that was still there. How does her hair get pulled right beside a brick wall? Anyway, thank you for watching my stories, and thank you for watching my videos and story and channel. Can't talk. I am Papino, and this is my channel, and I'll speak to you later. Until next time, pleasant dreams.